All right. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I welcome you all to another one of Kickoff Lab's marketing chats. Today we're going to be talking with another successful customer who's used Kickoff Labs to go from idea to crowdfunded with a referral rewards contest presented, and of course the contest was powered by Kickoff Labs. If you don't know, and you're here joining us because you heard about this webinar or you're watching this at a later date, Kickoff Labs is a way to grow your email list with a viral campaign. So we enable people, as you'll see demonstrated through this presentation, to start collecting customer email addresses or to add on to an existing customer email list. But we don't just simply collect emails, we enable you to run a really powerful referral contest where one person refers another and they refer 10 more, and you can count how many people each of those customers has referred, and give them a reward for referring their friends to the competition and growing your email list. I'm a big believer that the future of marketing is in contests that are more engaging and pull more people into your tribe. And the more things you can do to constantly engage with your existing tribe and grow the tribe through word of mouth and tools that facilitate that word of mouth engagement and growth are where the marketing space is heading. And so with that, I'd like to get into the story of going from an idea to crowdfunded success with a referral rewards contest. Some basics. If you're here and you're in the chat, just post questions at any time. We'll take breaks throughout the presentation to go and answer some of the questions that you might have. Some of the answers might come up throughout the story anyway, because we do think about what questions we want to ask and what questions will be popular, but we'll make sure to present them. Introduce yourself, your business. We'll give you a shout out as a benefit for coming into the chat live while we're here. And like I said, just don't hesitate to have that conversation in the background. That's what the chat is for. We want this to be a more interactive, informal event. All right, so if you don't know, I'm Josh Ledgard, founder of Kickoff Labs. We've been doing this for about 5 years now, and we look forward to continue doing it for the next few years and getting even better at what we're doing. Joining me today is Jenny Morris, and she's a founder at Simply Press. Jenny, if you could say hi and maybe give people a little bit more background on yourself, sort of your background professionally, how you got into this, and how you got how you made the decision to make this leap into entrepreneurship.
Of course. Hi everyone, I'm Jenny Morris, and I'm the creator and founder of Simply Press Coffee, French press without the mess. So prior to creating Simply Press, I was actually an executive recruiter, so I wasn't a product manufacturer designer at all. But my father was an inventor too, and he created a product, brought it to market successfully, and built the business around it. So I did grow up seeing that, and the product idea came to me literally in the middle of the night, and I just got up, started drawing it, applied for a provisional patent the next week, and it's been a journey since then. And even from my first prototype, it just made really great coffee. And as well as the whole mess part wasn't perfect yet, but it was good enough for me to keep pursuing. And as my husband says, the moment I got under his insurance when we got married last May, I quit my job and decided to pursue this full time. And he says it's the fastest quitting in the history of marriage. So that's how I decided to take it.
It's a great story. I've got shared on the slide just kind of a picture, and it's a really fantastic looking, and I'm gonna probably do it an injustice to say version of a French press. But can you explain a little bit more about what makes this unique and what is awesome about Simply Press?
Yeah, of course, I'd love to. So as a French press user, I had kind of two qualms with it. I didn't like cleaning up the grounds under the carafe all the time, or I used to pour it down the sink, and the plumber had to come and then tell me to stop doing it twice, and then so I had to start scooping it out, which really just added more time in my daily routine, or like I broke one just trying to clean it out. So the whole mess part was the starting point of it. And then another thing too, if you're a French press user, you know that you have to grind it a little bit coarser, or the grit can get all over your cup. And you're also not supposed to use fine or medium grounds, which when you do that, you do get more flavors from your coffee. And I'm a coffee lover. I wasn't a barista or anything, but I had an espresso, or I have an espresso machine at home. I have a pour over, and then I have my French press. So for me, like those two features of being able to bring out more flavors and then helping me with the messy cleanup are the two biggest factor of Simply Press and benefits of it too. And of course, it saves you time. You can customize it. There's all those great features. We don't have any plastics in it. You can even use it for tea as a tea container. So it's a pretty cool product, we think.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I've got the slide up, kind of explains I think what you did in short form. No grit, no mess, smooth coffee in a 2 to 3 minute brew. And what I like about a lot of the copy that I'm seeing on the page, and we'll have bits and pieces of your page, is that you were very straightforward and kind of reduced everything down to the most simple explanation with an image for people. And I find people often get way too wordy with some pages to describe their product because you're proud about your product, and people get and so you don't want to undersell it. But I think it's really important to take kind of the steps that you took here to really reduce everything down to like what are the core benefits of the product. And so I think you did a great job of explaining that on the page. And to give people some context, and it relates to a question that Jesse Serber asked. He's starting a mesh baby shoe company, ILU. Sandals meet shoe is the concept that they're working on. And his question is, how do you use a crowdfunding campaign together with the Kickoff Labs launch? If we are using the launch page to collect email addresses, do we then send them over to the crowdfunding campaign? And as I understand it, that was exactly what you guys did. So you used Kickoff Labs, and we'll get into how you used it, how you set up the referral campaign to collect over 5,000 email addresses that you didn't have before, and then you use those email addresses when you launched the Kickstarter campaign to seed the Kickstarter campaign off and get off to a great start with Kickstarter. And you guys were funded within an hour, it says?
Yes, exactly.
How much money were you looking to get funded for?
25,000 was our goal. So.
Wow. So you guys, within an hour, you hit $25,000 in funding.
We did. That was really exciting.
That's pretty spectacular. Did you feel overwhelmed that happened?
No, you just keep wanting more. It's like come on, let's keep this going.
No, I totally get it. Once you get a level of success, you say, what is the next level? You got 25,000. Where's the 50,000 level?
No, but it wasn't overwhelming. But it was definitely very surprising, and also we were just so grateful and surprised. Like it was a good thing. I didn't expect it that fast either. So it's a good confirmation that we are onto something, and people are just as excited as we are. So.
Mm-hmm. So the basic launch page you had, I've got the slide back up. So what made you decide to go this route of setting up a page to collect email addresses before you did the Kickstarter campaign?
So for crowdfunding, everyone that I talked to, they really harped on the importance of having an email list. And at first it seemed really daunting, like 5,000 emails, 10,000 emails. The goal was at least a minimum 5,000. And then how am I going to get 5,000? I've been to all these events, and I'll get 200, but it's just, you can only meet so many people in person. And with Kickstarter and with a lot of online sales, it's just about getting the word out there and getting people to start following you. So that was the first decision. We knew that we needed to gather at least 5,000 emails to have a successful campaign, or that was our goal. So, but some people also have had successful campaigns out of 1,000 emails, depending on your price goal too and what your starting goal is. But for us, we just wanted to play it safe and get as many as we can. So.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the page. And so we've got it kind of cut up into sections with the top and the middle, which I showed a little bit, and the bottom. And I said I really liked how you kept everything really simple and minimal throughout. Can you talk about how you came up with the page design and any work you may have done to test it or improve it along the way?
So I reviewed a lot of landing pages, and there's all these articles that you can read, and what makes a successful landing page. I looked at some sample ones, and it was clear that you need, like, I wanted to first create kind of a mystery. That's why we chose that picture versus like one that's just like pretty bright and in your face, or like a lifestyle one. Since it is still coming, we wanted to create an intrigue with it. And then at the same time too, we wanted to keep it simple. Like the first thing that they see is it's coming, and now we need your email, because we, like you said, like people want to be like you tend to be wordy. I tend to be wordy. But for this one, we wanted to direct them to an action, which is sign up here. You'll get early bird pricing, a chance to win Simply Press. It's pretty clean and simple. And then the next step is to join now. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like the top of the page, like you said. There's kind of a mystery. I mean, you can tell what the product is, but I did like your concept how you shrouded it in some mystery. I never like, some people will launch a page like this, and something they'll do is they'll say like, something amazing for coffee drinkers, but they won't even imply like what it is. Like it could be a new roast, or it could be a press, a kind of a press, but. I think that gets too mysterious. I think you struck a good balance with this page for people looking at it. And then you said, launching in May on Kickstarter, so you're setting expectations, and then the page says small font, so I'll read it so people don't have to. It says, join now for early bird pricing and a chance to win a Simply Press. And that's a really simple incentive, but it's a clear incentive. Like you're basically saying, if you sign up now, you'll have a chance at early bird pricing and a chance to win a Simply Press. And it's good because you're giving people a clear incentive besides the mystery of the product on the page. And then the other two good things you did at the top of this page is keeping it really simple in terms of colors and where your eyes are drawn. So people's eyes are probably drawn on this page first to the press on the side, because it is the left side of the page and people tend to read left to right. But then using that bright red bold color for the button, the Join Now button. And the copy in the Join Now button also matches your call to action text, which says Join Now for. And those are all really good practices. I mean, some people leave the button that says, submit email, which doesn't relate to what you're doing at all. And they have too many colors and fonts on the page, which are distracting. But this is not distracting at all. It's very clean, very minimal. You can stand 10 feet away from the page and see what's going on the page. So the next part of the page, I think, was this section where it talks about the French press experience, beautifully redesigned. So right below the T's at the top, you had a very clear text explanation that backs up the image. And you have a video there too. Can you talk a little bit about this section?
Yes, so like you said, we wanted to be mysterious, but we also wanted people to know what it is. I mean, they see it and they're like, well, it's a French press, but why is it different? That's always the questions that we have, right? So how is it different? So we wanted to explain right away, and infographics are a great way for people to just, people are very visual, to see it, and then try to say it in as fast as possible, where they're going to be inclined to watch the video and then keep reading further down. So this is just to get their attention within the first couple seconds that they're on the page.
Yep.
So that's where we got the no grit, no mess, so smooth 2 to 3 minute brew, just like the quick features and benefits of it, benefits of it. And then the video is so when people do take the time and they're like, okay, they're intrigued, and they can see what it's about, they can see it in action. And I'm a big fan of videos. I don't have the time to watch them all the time, but I think it's also good for just people to have that as a reference point or something to excite them too. So.
No, and there's a couple good things, whether intentionally or not intentionally, you did here. One is you didn't rely just on the image of the product to explain what it was. You have the clear text-based explanation to sell the benefits as well. And you're also not relying 100% on the video. We'll see a lot of people that just will have a product image and a video, and they're expecting everybody who comes to the page to watch the video. And the reality is, like you said, I love video, but I don't always have time to watch it. Or maybe you're not even in a place to watch the video. But the video here is complimentary, and people can watch it. And if they're in a place and they're curious and they want to be more engaged and have time, but it's not required to understand the page, right? And I think that's an important tactic for people to realize when they're contemplating funding or producing and using a video on their landing page, is never to just lean on the video, or never to just lean on a hero shot, or never to just lean on the copy. Like the three have to work hand in hand together when people are doing this. So let's go to the next section of the page. And so here you've got a much more detailed explanation. Did this come later, or was this on the initial launch page?
This was all in the initial launch page.
Okay. And then this section, I think, is, once people drill down here, you're giving them, you're giving them a lot more details about what the product is and why it's important. So you have this progression on the page from like tease to quick explanation to details further down. And so was that intentional?
For what? Which part of it?
Was that intentional that you guys, as you go further down the page, you gave more and more details as you went down the page?
Yes. Because we figured the more people go down the page, the more interested they are, and now they're actually engaged and not just browsing. So some people might just want to put in their email right from the beginning and only have 2 seconds, and then some people might want to find out more information prior to giving us their information, their email, or just want to know as much about SimplyPress as possible.
Cool. And then the next section of the page, it explains how it works. And again, you're not you're not over-explaining. You're not using a ton of text, and you're trying to reinforce. And it says, measure, brew, simply press, pour, enjoy, lift, and clean. And I think it's important. Some people might look at this and say, wow, people understand what a press is. Like, do you really have to explain it? And I think it's important for everyone to realize that, like, not everyone has the same context. And, us as founders, we always assume that, like, everybody knows as much as we do about the product and the experience. Yeah. And the reality is that's simply not true, right? You probably even have to explain to some people why they should even care about having a French press, right?
Exactly. Yes, no, you have to explain it as much as possible, and even though I understand it, or people like who have seen it in person, but if you're just looking at it on the web for the first time or on the website, it's really hard to understand for other people to see what you're trying to do. So you just have to explain it as much as possible in different ways, and that's the way we looked at it. So that's where the infographics are, that's where the text are, that's where the videos, and that's where the graphics came into.
Cool. And so at the bottom of the page, you've got some testimonials. So for not having a production-based product, can I ask how you got the testimonials?
Well, we went to a lot of coffee events, professional coffee events, consumers. And so we actually wanted to test out our product before going into crowdfunding and manufacturing, since we are self-invested into this too, right? So one of the things that you have to do is make sure that you actually have not just a working product, but a product that people need and want. So that was our point too. So prior to creating this landing page, for the past 4 to 5 months prior to that, we've been to New York, to Portland, to LA, where we live, and we participated and exhibited in these events.
Cool. And so I guess a question that some people ask is, you have a physical product. Just how did you go about having the prototype for the product? Like, how did you seek and source and produce the prototype? It's a beautiful looking product. So how did you get to even that stage where you could do that testing and go to shows with a prototype?
Well, it starts from design and ideation. So I had the product idea in my mind. And then first I actually went to an industrial designer who created a 3D rendering of it, and then we created our first prototype, found out that it is, it essentially works, but it's not perfect because I needed an actual engineer. So after that, I hired an engineering firm to help me troubleshoot it and make things fit and lift and all that other good stuff that SimplyPress does. And then from there, then we made our second prototype, and then you just keep perfecting it and working with it. And you talk to as many people as possible who've done it too. So I took a how to bring a product to market class, and I also reached out to other people who've been down that road from Kickstarter. And you learn as much as possible, and because you don't have to reinvent the wheel yourself. There's a lot of people who've already done it, and you can just try your best to learn from them, and hopefully you're going to make mistakes, but minimize some of it or learn from their mistakes too. So.
You make it sound really simple, and I imagine there's some people who are just stuck on, where you found a design firm and where you found an engineering firm. Like, how did you find those resources that you could trust to do that work for you?
Yeah, that was not simple. That probably took me the process of even finding a prototype maker about 2 to 3 months. And then they referred me to the industrial designer since they didn't have the capacity for him to take on my project or it's too small. And then I worked with him, and then this was probably another 8 months in process. And then I got referred from another prototype manufacturer, and I found prototype manufacturers from online research and all that to this engineering firm. So it's through referrals and it's through online research and it's through months. I mean, from the first time I started working on the product, just from the idea, actually having my first prototype was about a year. And I had a full-time job at the same time. So it wasn't something that just happens overnight. And you have to really feel passionate about it to go through with it. People can do this a lot faster, especially if this is what you're doing full-time and so on. But it's something that you just keep going, and even if you hit a wall, you just you call someone else and you go with your gut if to see if this person is someone you want to work with or if they have good references. I always ask for references, especially as a previous recruiter, so that's really important too.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about how you promoted this page. So you talked about going to shows with the prototype, and you'd collected a couple hundred emails here and there. Can you tell me how you went about promoting the landing page? Like, how many people did you start with? Did you send the page to initially, and then how did you grow from there?
Initially, I might have had about 300, 400 people in my sign-on list, plus personal, let's just say 500. So not anything groundbreaking, and well, personnel that were interested in it, since we had a lot of professional contacts. But the really big thing that we did was Facebook advertising. So if you guys haven't done Facebook advertising yet, it's definitely something worth to do. And then we led the Facebook advertising to the campaign page, and with the Facebook advertising, we also intrigued people for the early bird pricing, or we didn't really do for a chance to win Simply Press. People like early bird pricing for advertising, so they're like, when they're interested, they're like, okay, I should sign up now so I can be the first to know about it and to also get mine at a lower price. So.
Yep. So for advice for people, the concept of saying you'll get access to early bird pricing, that does seem to work as an incentive for people to click through the ad and sign up.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask? So it sounds like your main form of advertising was Facebook. Did you run ads in any other networks like Google or retargeting ads? Did you do anything else, or was it primarily most of your budget and time went to Facebook ads?
Yeah, everything I did was through Facebook. I mean, we did some Twitter, and I guess this is important too. So whenever someone would sign up to Kickoff Labs, you actually get sometimes their social profiles.
Mm-hmm.
If I got their Twitter account, LinkedIn, then we individually went up to each Twitter account and tweeted them personally, like, thanks for joining the tribe. And then I like to engage people or ask them what feature, like what I did was, what feature are you most interested about, or why are you excited about Simply Press, just to get an idea why they're truly interested, or if they're a real follower. So test them out, and it was good to start the interaction too. And then so a lot of them were like, yeah, I'm really excited, we can't wait. And then the communication and the relationship started, and now you're not just talking to a wall, or you just and also we pushed the email list to MailChimp. So that's also important for newsletters. So then we also engage them through our blogs, newsletters, what we're doing. So you got to keep them engaged throughout the whole process.
And we'll talk a little bit about that going forward, but I want to make sure people hear this point and hear part of your story that I think is really important, which is that throughout the process, before you even had this campaign, you were going to places where your potential customers and influential customers were, going to different shows and events and demoing the product, and you were really into getting kind of that feedback early and often with customers. So it comes across as really genuine from you. And in a lot of cases, I think people just assume, like, put up a page, do some advertising, and you sort of neglect that personal engagement part. But you took that one step further, and you were people that were signing up. Once you saw their social profiles, you would connect to them online, thank them personally for doing, which, especially when you're starting out and you're going from 500 to 5,000, that kind of personal engagement can really pay dividends. I'm sure that really encouraged people to then share and promote the product, which we'll talk about next. And I think that's a really important point, is that people realize that they were talking to real people and a brand that cared about what they had to say throughout the campaign. So when somebody signed up for this, and you talked about reaching out to them with their social profile, you were running a referral campaign. So can you walk through the referral campaign? I've got the screen up here. This is powered by Kickoff Labs. This is what I was talking about in the beginning, where people sign up. You can give them their own individual referral link, and then you can decide, some reward levels of, at each level giving people a prize or reward. So can you talk a little bit about, why you wanted to do this, how successful this was for you guys, and how you determine kind of the reward levels?
Of course. So we looked at, and I know, I think you quoted that as part of your page, like the Harry's, Razor, and all those like referral campaigns, and we did see that it could be really helpful for us, but you also want to reward people for sharing them with friends, and some will just share it, but if they're about 2 or 3 more, 4 more from getting to the next reward level, it's just going to encourage them to share it further. So we did do that for the fact of sharing it, and I believe the numbers were about 34 to 35% in terms of referrals that came in, like people would refer it, and so the sign-up list was made out of 34-35% referrals, I believe. So.
Yeah, that's a good level of success for it. I mean, it means that those are people you really didn't have to work too hard for. You set up these campaigns. It looks like your rewards were, at 5, you're giving people a chance to win a Silly Crest, putting them in a drawing, and then at 10, you're giving them the same chance to win plus a shirt. At 25, I think you're giving them the shirt and package. Yeah, a couple of things in it. And at 100, if you had anybody reach 100, you were going to give them a first edition with some customization on it. And so, did you have anybody reach 100?
You know what, I did, but I'm not sure if the email addresses are pretty legit, to be honest. So
you check that first before you
yes, and I'll check with you guys. So.
Yeah, and so it's important to note, people see this as a thank you page when they come in, but they also get from Kickoff Labs, you were sending out an email, where you're saying thank you for signing up. It says, to read the bits of the email, since I know it's hard to read in the video, it says thank you for being part of the Simply Press community as the subject. And so it's important to remember that you put the name of the product in the subject. A lot of people that have these thank you emails will simply say something like thank you or thanks for joining. And if you don't mention the context, people might just delete it or assume it's not know what it's from. And so even if nobody reads the rest of the message, they just read the subject line, at least they know that they're now part of the Simply Press community and you're saying thank you. And so subject line, very straightforward. You have the message then says thanks for joining. You're part of our community. Play a role in making Simply Press happen. And that's important, the way you're treating people, saying words like community and tribe, and you're making them feel like, and this is another key to success we see all the time, you're making them feel like they're part of something bigger than just getting their own Simply Press. And I think that's really important for people to realize. And you're reminding them that they could get the early bird pricing and a chance to win. And then you send them their personal share link, so they can just click on the share links and refer their friends. So this email makes that really easy, and you've said all the right things along the way. The next thing it looks like is like you said, you were using MailChimp to send out regular updates. And so how often did you send out updates, and what was contained kind of within these updates? I have a sample one here. But I'm curious, how often you were sending out updates to the larger list.
The first month that I was collecting emails, it wasn't as often as I should have been sending it. And then I did get a comment from someone, more of a marketing person, say like, you could send out more updates. Because at first I didn't know what's the line between being annoying or being interesting and informative, right? So I'm like, well, I don't want to inundate them with all these emails. But the closer we got to our campaign, I think I started sending them like weekly to every 2 weeks, and then a few days before the campaign, almost every day or every other day. So it just depends. Like I waited until we got closer to the campaign, but I probably should have been sending updates at least every 2 weeks, if not every week, right from the beginning, in retrospect.
Yeah, I mean, that's generally what we would recommend to people is from the start, like at least every other week, sending out an update to keep people informed. And people have a hesitation about that because you worry you're reaching out too frequently and that you're going to annoy people that'll drop off the list. And that might be true, but those people were probably not true fans, and they probably weren't going to be serious about buying it anyway. If people are really excited, and you've got decent content and a reason to read the emails, then they're going to keep reading the emails along the way. And you're just reminding them that you're there. I mean, the worst thing you could possibly do, and unfortunately I see it all the time, is you collect a bunch of email addresses and then you don't send anything, and then 3 months later you send this email that says, now go buy this product. And I've forgotten what it was 3 months ago that I signed up for, and I have no context. So you just delete the email. And so that's why that regular engagement through email is also really important. I want to back up. I have one more question about the Facebook ads, because running an advertising campaign can be kind of daunting. How did you target? Because Facebook gives you a lot of tools for customizing the targeting. So did you just target everybody that said they loved coffee, or what kind of targeting did you use within Facebook ads?
Yes. So, well, first of all, I had a friend who actually understood Facebook ads, helped set everything up for me. So I didn't do everything myself. But also we did, for us anyway, we specialize on coffee people and specialty coffee, or people who like manual brews. So we did some niche marketing, and then we also did some A/B testing, like let's try this group and let's try this group, and then if one didn't really convert, then we'll stop it and then start the other. So we just kept it pretty nimble and kept checking it every 2 days and just to see, and if the ones that aren't converting for us, then we would stop. And towards the end, right when we're about to do the Kickstarter, we also did Kickstarter and coffee. So people had to like coffee and Kickstarter at the same time, or crowdfunding, Indiegogo, because then we also got the tip from someone else that it's also important that the person will also buy in Kickstarter. But I didn't really find this completely true, since when we looked at our numbers, like we had about 300 people or so or more sign up that are new to Kickstarter. So people actually signed up on Kickstarter just because they're for our product. While there's already probably a Kickstarter person who signed up on the email list, but didn't, but also wanted a product. So we could have missed out on those people too if we didn't start targeting just people who love coffee from the beginning. So you just have to play around with it and see what's converting for you.
And that leads right into this email, which I have up there. How do you back Simply Press on Kickstarter? And again, something that seems like it would be really simple, you broke down into steps for people. And so why, what led to this email? Like, you're very clear, like, how to back it. Like, go to Kickstarter, enter Simply Press at a specific time when you're live, and then scroll and say, back this project. And you walk people through the steps. And where'd you get the idea for doing this, and why is that important, do you think?
Well, I got a few emails from people right when I sent another email prior to this, like going live, the one that you saw. Then people are like, wait, how do we do it on Kickstarter? Like, I don't understand. So I thought that this is a good way to make it simple for people and easy to understand and not as intimidating if you're new to it. So this was just a way to make it easier for them to back us, and for people that are not tech savvy or that are not Kickstarter savvy, so they would understand it.
Yeah, and so those are really good points. I want to reinforce that to people here, is that, again, you shouldn't make assumptions about the knowledge that people have, especially if you're marketing to non-tech people who maybe have never even heard of Kickstarter and what the concept of a pre-launch is. And you have to really break it down for them about what's going on, what the process is. And this email does that. It really breaks it down in terms of what is going on, how to go about it, and I think that has a huge impact on the conversion rate of people actually following through the steps, because it feels like, oh, this is approachable. I can do that. I can visit a URL and I can search for 2 words. Like, I can click back this project in the upper right corner. Like, you broke it down for people, and I think that's something that people miss. And the other part about that story that you told is this was in response to customer feedback. Like, you got emails saying, I'm not sure how to do this, and you must have gotten more than one for you to send this out, right? And so you listened to what people were telling you, and you had a great response, which is, okay, I'm going to send out another mail. I'm not going to be afraid to send out this other mail and say, listen, here is how you do this. And so that's the other really good thing about what you guys did here. And let's see. So as you're going, reading this email, it says we are now almost at our stretch goal of $100,000, which will unlock the red and black Simply Press color option. How did you decide on stretch goals, and what did you and what levels? If you don't mind sharing, like, did you unlock all the stretch goals you guys set?
Almost. We're about 15K. We're on Indiegogo in demand right now from the wooden spoon, which we added, by the way, based on listening to people's feedback too. Like, we made another tier for it. Mm-hmm. But for this one, we also did some SurveyMonkey as well. So prior to our launch or some of our newsletter campaign, it's asking people, would you like a black Simply Press or red Simply Press? And I thought red would be more popular, but in this one survey, black was more popular. Mm-hmm. So we decided to do black and red as an option. So just doing that as a stretch goal, knowing that people are going to be excited to be able to get the red Simply Press too for people who want it. So we chose black as the first one, and then red as an option once we hit our stretch goal.
Cool. So it kind of gave a little bit of insight, leads into my next question, which is where are you guys at now, and what does the next couple of months look for you?
So right now we are getting ready to build an online website for shopping, an online shopping site, and it's really also just getting our manufacturing all lined up. So we are getting ready for tooling and for production and all of that, as well as trying to set up a real business now too. So mm-hmm. People know, like, once you launch a product, then it's like now you're back to looking at it. It's like, now what?
Yeah.
And after all the work that you put in, and it takes about 3 to 4 months overall with preparation, and then the campaign itself, if you really invest in it, and then after, you have to really look at see where you want to take the business and build it as a company. So.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask you to break down a step 2, which is you're talking about getting the tooling and the manufacturing, and again, it sounds like you make it sound really simple. Like, how did you find a manufacturer? How did you know that they're going to be able to produce it for you?
Yeah. So that's another thing where I've mentioned to talk to people as much as you can. We got a referral from another Kickstarter company who's in the coffee, who also made a coffee product. So we just started reaching out to similar products or products that we thought highly of, and it's like, hey guys, like. And then we didn't ask them about their manufacturer right in the beginning, but they just offered to give us the names. So we started the conversation. We met the owner in person here. We actually visited China to see not just the people, but also the manufacturing plant and so on too. And right after the Kickstarter, well, we ended the Kickstarter campaign in Shanghai. So we wanted to also see the whole operations before just deciding to keep going with them too. So.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, to summarize, I mean, you looked for people who were making similar products. Mm-hmm. You reached out to them for advice about who they were using to manufacture and develop, and what advice they had for those related products in a case. And then you actually went, boots on the ground. You're like, I'm gonna meet the people who own the company. I'm gonna talk to them. And I'm going to fly and see the manufacturing plant.
Yes.
Where it's going to be made.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you felt very good about the decision and who you're working with.
Yes, definitely.
And so just to kind of summarize, you guys ran this campaign, and going backwards to Kickoff Labs now, you got 5,000 conversions during the length of the campaign. That took you guys from basically March to the end of May. So about 2.5 months, you guys are actively running the campaign. And you had a 14% conversion rate and a 30% overall viral boost. Which again is good numbers for people going through, and the viral boost is the percentage of leads that come from somebody sharing something else, or from sharing their link with their friends. I'm curious if you have any, as you know, in the audience, we have at least one person who's working working on a Kickstarter campaign for a physical product. What kind of final bit of advice would you give to people who are going down that path? Maybe something that we haven't covered or should have covered during this interview.
For people going down crowdfunding path or Kickstarter path?
Yeah, people going down crowdfunding, and maybe specifically for a physical product.
Let's see. So, I think we touched on having some testimonials is good too, or having some kind of proof that people love your product. So we had that third place new product award. For a physical product, if you're trying to sell it online, I think it's better if people actually see the prototype too. So if you have a video of it, that they can see it in action, definitely that's important. Your Kickstarter video, of course, and getting as many people on that email list prior to that campaign, and really setting everything up, even your calendar of during the Kickstarter launch of when should I send out emails, what kind of email should I send out, what's my marketing plan, who are my marketing partners. You're going to hit a lull in the middle, everyone does. So it's like, what am I going to do between those downtimes? Like, how am I going to reach out to more people? So just setting everything up as you can, because during the month of your Kickstarter campaign, if you choose to do it longer, it's going to be pretty stressful and crazy, and you want to have a plan. So.
Yeah. One more question that came from Jesse again, audience. Are there types of products that you think are best suited or maybe not best suited for crowdfunding? Like, are there products you think would work really well in crowdfunding, and there are products that you don't think people should attempt to do crowdfunding with?
I think crowdfunding is all mostly about consumer products. So, but in terms of being specific about it, I think there's been numerous products there that's been successful. That's from a sweater, as you guys know, like who knows it, that would make $10 million or so. That's just completely crazy. So, like a travel jacket, that kind of deal. It's just you never really know what's going to hit it. But consumer products is what I would say. It's not a B2B, obviously. So.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I've got. I want to thank you for being here today, and I want to give you a chance to say, where should people go if they want to stay in touch with you or ask you any more questions? How can people follow you online, and how can people get their own Simply Press?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you. So simplypresscoffee.com, simply with an I, so S-I-M-P-L-I, presscoffee.com. That's our current site right now. But you can also go on Indiegogo, and we are currently live there on demand. So that's our online shopping store at the moment, and you can pre-order your Simply Press there.
Cool. I've got the URL there, so it's simplypresscoffee.com. And you can click back the project, and you can go get you can go set in your pre-order for the Simply Press, and then for following you online, do you have a Twitter or an email you prefer people use?
Yeah, so it's just Simply Press, the Twitter account, and they're all linked there too on the top of the page, as you see. So our Twitter, our Facebook, and our Instagram's all there.
Great. And just to wrap things up, I really appreciate your time today. This is a lot of fun talking with you. I love hearing these stories where people come in and they got successfully launched beyond what they thought they were initially going to do, and they get funded really quickly, and they get able to hit stretch goals. Like, that's all really cool. And if people take away one thing, I think the thing that stood out to me was how engaged you were with your audience throughout the process. I mean, like you said, a year beforehand, you were finding, you were demonstrating the product, going to shows, getting testimonials, collecting all of that customer feedback early. And it doesn't sound like you've stopped engaging with customers. And that sweat equity, as I like to call it, that you put in, I imagine had a huge role in the success of both collecting email addresses and then later on getting people to order their own Simply Press, to get people to order their own Simply Press. So if anybody has any questions for me at Kickoff Labs, just support@kickofflabs.com. They can email. And just let us know if you have any questions or comments on this webinar and video. If you haven't already, go ahead and give Kickoff Labs a shot. So, like I said in the beginning, we are a tool to help you grow your email list with a viral campaign. So, running a contest like this to get 5,000 email addresses in a couple months' time is something that we specialize in, and we're really good at helping customers achieve these kind of goals. So if you've got any comments or questions, you try it out and you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Just support@kickofflabs.com, and if people want to get in touch directly with me, I'm josh@kickofflabs.com. I want to thank Jenny again for coming by and say have a great rest of your Thursday and your weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.